Hi guys.
Hi guys.
Welcome.
Wait, there's a spider. Oh my god. What's
A
that
big
thing?
spider?
What is that? It's a crab.
There's a crab. So you don't scare me like that. Right. So hi guys.
Hi,
Welcome to Am I too close?
No, it's okay.
Another episode of Dai Good Talk. We are currently on Flowerpot Beach.
The beach with the most vibes.
Most vibes. South people, we just find it anyway. So, guys, first of all, I just want to say, sunrise, breakfast party, big up PP one time, free plug, guys, the boss, right? So, Zoe, I've known you since when? A year now?
Yeah.
Like a year? About a year? Okay. And I often see you on being interviewed and stuff, podcasts and stuff, but because I know you, I'm not going to ask you the same questions that everybody would ask. How are your travels and this and that and so forth, right? So I have a small list of questions here. Let me see if I could find them real quick. So first of all, are you in a currently in a relationship or a situationship?
Nothing,
Nothing.
Recently, me and my situationship broke up. I don't know if you can technically break up from a situationship, but it definitely felt like a breakup, I'll tell you that much.
Okay, so it hurt then?
Oh, I'm hurting every day still, not gonna lie.
You had days you can eat properly and thing?
I kind of comfort eat, so if anything, I would
so
eat
it's
more.
the opposite. Oh, yeah. I know about not eating and not drinking and you're still feeling full, but you're just full of regret, So it's no longer.
Apparently, yeah. I mean, sometimes in my fantasies it's still there, but...
So you would like very much to get back together with that person?
I'm not sure if it could work, as in because I'm traveling and things like that. But I definitely miss talking to him, and I definitely want him in my life. So I don't know how that can work, but obviously it's his choice as well. So I have to just.
Yeah, that was your person then.
It's the only person that I really ever thought would be in my life forever. Really.
Oh, well, ain't that cute?
Not really, because he's now been airing me for 4 days. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, on that topic, right? What is the situation with bird number one?
So bird number one, we were friends for years and years. Then we ended up having a little romantic thing in Trinidad last year, which was fun.
Yeah.
But then obviously I carried on traveling, and it was never a relationship anyway. It was kind of a nice little
a romantic fling.
fun. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah.
But we were friends first anyway. So because we were friends first, I think it was always going to go back to being friends because that's what we were for years and years.
Yeah.
So now I guess we're friends. I guess you can never say never with anything in life.
True.
But I've only seen him once since I came back, and that was at Pan Semis because I've been really busy.
Yeah.
But
you plan to see him again?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I need to go say hi to his mum.
So for those of you guys that don't know, there was a running joke last year that Zoe had 3 birds, right?
But I never actually had 3 birds.
She never actually had 3 birds. She only had bird number 1. I apparently was bird number 2.
But that was just thrown in the mix.
That was just thrown in the mix to mix it up.
Yeah.
And there was another Rasta guy from Tobago. He was bird number 3.
But he also was never a bird. But it's because everyone thought he was a bird just because we did a cooking video together. Because apparently every time I cook with a man, I must be sleeping with them.
Okay.
That's just the
theory.
So
let me just clear that up real quick.
Yeah.
Guys, Zoe and I never did anything. We never planned to do anything. But with me, how it goes, everybody will see me around a lot of girls and say, Mark must be effing this one, Mark must be effing this one. But it's not the case.
And same with me because I'm around a lot of boys.
Right, good. And I don't have a ras. So, I automatically lost. So, let me ask, how are relationships while traveling?
Yeah, so I guess like the traveling full-time thing is fairly new to me because I've only been doing it for like less than 2 years, whereas before that I would travel often, but like I'd be based still in one place, do you know what I mean? So back then it wasn't a problem. I would travel alone when I had a boyfriend, but I'd only be going away for like 3 weeks and I'd come back, so it was never a problem. But since I've been traveling, I guess you could say like full-time, it has been a bit difficult because that same situationship, he was originally my boyfriend like a couple of years ago, and then when I was traveling like basically full-time, we would keep, if I'd go back to England for a bit, we'd like see each other again, then we'd try and carry it on, but then it would end up not working because you get like annoyed, right, with missing each other, and like problems just arise when you can't see each other in person, so then we'd like not talk again and blah blah blah. So really I think me traveling has been one factor as to why me and him are currently like not really talking. But I think it's important to remember that you kind of have to chase your dreams regardless of... I guess there's like a compromise and there's a line, but like I currently am trying to build up my TikTok into something that can help me have like a life in travel for a long period. It's not like, it's not a little thing that I'm trying to do. It's like something very important that I'm trying to do. So I can't just say, oh, I'll forget about it for a man. Do you know what I mean? Because then that would just be like the wrong thing to do. So yeah.
Because what if it don't work out in the end and you just throw away your dreams?
Yeah, but there could be a compromise, like, you know, if, whatever, I don't need to give an example, but there could be a compromise, and I was willing to compromise to an extent, but it still logistically wasn't making sense at the moment. But yeah, so I don't know. I haven't had a boyfriend since this like full-time travel thing. Obviously, like I said, for some of the time that I've been full-time traveling, I've just been talking to my ex basically and just focusing on him. And obviously I had that little thing with bird number one. But apart from that, I haven't like really done anything. I mean, I've been on like a couple of dates, like kissed the boy, do you know what I mean? But like nothing.
Do you use Tinder?
So yeah, I did. Like when last year there was a period of like, I think it was about 7 months when me and that same ex-boyfriend, we just basically weren't really talking at all. And then bird number one had already happened. So then there was like a period when I was traveling and there was nobody really, like, I wasn't seeing anyone. And so I was on Tinder for a bit then. So I went on like one Tinder date in Guyana. And I also went on I guess I hung out a bit with a guy in Grenada and we kissed, but it wasn't actually from Tinder. So yeah, but it's like with Tinder, if I have it, I usually just have it to be like nosy, do you know what I mean? Like it's interesting to see like what guys there are in different countries and just to see like who swipes back on you. I guess it's really toxic. I just sometimes like to see like if they'll like me back, and then I don't really meet up with them usually because I don't really have time. I mean, I'll prefer to go to a waterfall, I'll prefer to go to a beach, I'll prefer to go and make some content like interviewing an ITEL shop owner rather than going on a Tinder date, do you know what I mean? Because it's just not a priority for me. So when I do have it, it's just really, I don't know why, it's just, I actually don't know why.
Funny thing, I have installed Tinder on my phone in November. After a very long time, I was maybe about 7, 8 years, and it's funny to see the type of girls that are on Tinder. And
but it's a wide range, right?
No, why I say that is because it's often, most of them that I see that are, you could say popular, are the same girls that would be on Twitter or whatever, saying that independent, they still need a man, whatever. But like, if I see them on Tinder, it says looking for a full-time relationship. So it's such a strange thing to, you're being independent on these other platforms, but you're on Tinder looking for that. I just on Tinder for shits and giggles. Like I actually match with about 30 people and then message a single one.
Yeah, that's basically the same as me then.
I just being nosy also.
Yeah.
So.
But to be fair, in the past, like when I was a lot younger, I actually used to use it, like let's say for example in Brazil, I was there maybe like, I don't know, 5 years ago or something, and I was single at the time, whatever, so I had Tinder, and this one guy that I matched with, I just liked his vibes, like he seemed quite like trustworthy, I don't know why, but I just trusted him for some reason, and he was like, oh, I know some good hiking spots, like do you want me to take you? And I don't know, he seemed cool, so I actually went with him, and we went to this really cool like national park, and it had waterfalls and stuff, and we ended up like kissing in the waterfall, and then romantic. Yeah, it was actually cute, and then like we had a little beach date like the next day, but then I had my flight home. But yeah, that's not the only time, like even in like St. Lucia, not on this trip, but I went there like several years ago, I matched with this guy who, to be honest, I didn't even really fancy, but I just sometimes match with people that look trustworthy when I'm traveling. And so I matched with this guy that I didn't like fancy or anything, but his parents owned like a restaurant or something, and he was like, oh, you can come and hang out in the restaurant. So like I did. And to be fair, I think I actually didn't even get a discount or anything. I think I just paid like the normal price, so I don't really know what the benefit was, but
imagine,
I don't know.
Imagine, this is funny, imagine that's actually his restaurant and he matches with people on Tinder and carries them
for like promo. Because I'm pretty sure I paid the normal price. I can't remember, or maybe I got a bit of a discount, but yeah, it wasn't like an all-you-can-eat situation. But I guess it was just like interesting. He was able to like tell me some cool things to do. You know, like sometimes when you're traveling, it can just be useful.
Yeah.
And actually, probably the coolest Tinder story ever from traveling was when I had this like something like a 20-hour or like 16-hour layover in Miami when I was like I was like 22 at the time. Or 21 or something, and it was like an overnight layover, so my plan was to just sleep in the airport. So I was just like lying down across the chairs, but it was so cold, like, you know, with the AC, and I just couldn't sleep. So I just swiped on Tinder because I just couldn't sleep, and then I ended up matching with this guy, and I was like, I'm bored in the airport, like, come help me or whatever. And then he was like, okay, I'll come pick you up and take you around Miami. It was like 2 a.m. So I was like, okay, but like, how do I know you're not going to kidnap me, blah, blah, blah. Then we went on WhatsApp. Like, we moved it to WhatsApp. He sent me like a copy of his ID card. He was like, you can send this to your mom. This is my like license plate, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, do you know what? Let's go. So this man picked me up from the airport at like 2 a.m. or whatever it was. And he literally gave me like a tour of Miami in the dark. He drove me past the beach, past some like street art, different things, told me like, this is the rich neighborhood. This is whatever, you know, described the different neighborhoods. Just for like an hour, we just chatted. Then he just dropped me back. He didn't try and kiss me, nothing. He literally just randomly took me for a tour of Miami in the night and dropped me back. I think that's pretty cool.
So, touching on Tinder and long distance relationship and being in different countries, I would have to ask you because I know you've been to 49 different countries, right?
Yeah, but some of them I was a child. That's like in my whole life.
Okay, so let's talk from 20 years old to now. How much countries you've been to?
I'm not sure, but let's just say maybe 30. I don't know, but like
So the majority from 20 years old?
Yeah, or like 18, yeah.
Okay, this is a very controversial question, but I will have to ask, in which country you would agree has the best men?
To be honest, like I said, I don't usually have time to date on my travels because I prefer like waterfalls and beaches. And half of my trips, I had a boyfriend at home anyway. So to be honest, I'm not the best person to ask. But I will say that in Cape Verde, which is an island in Africa, well, not literally in, but you know what I mean, the people are very like unique looking because of the history of who came to the island. There's a lot of people with like quite dark skin but quite bright eyes, and it's quite like a mixture that you don't see often. So for example, people with like blue eyes and an afro, and it's just like quite interesting looking people that aren't what you see every day. So I thought people there were really beautiful, like the men and women, just because I guess it was like different. But okay, I like Jamaican accents, I'm not gonna lie, so sometimes that gets me in Jamaica. But I really men actually just give me a lot of trauma, and they kind of scare me. I really don't date very much, honestly.
Let me ask another question around that. Which country had the best sex?
I mean, I don't even have sex much on my travels either. Like, really,
no, but if
I really just don't like men that much. But
I mean, you can rate sexual experiences.
Like, probably England because my deepest situation was my ex-boyfriend, and obviously we were in England. And when your situation is deep, like you know, the sex is different.
Is he from England?
He's from London, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess, yeah.
So Caribbean men, you hear that? You need to step up your game because she's from London and she says she never went to a country and had better sex than her hometown.
Because I just don't have that much sex on my travels, really.
Yeah, I mean, I know, but just you had to have sex sometime in your life.
Yeah, I have pins and needles in this leg. I think I'm gonna like.
Yeah, no,
I
I really need to pause. Yeah, guys, we pausing real quick because I need to check the camera. Sun is setting.
Okay.
Okay guys, so we're back for part number 2. Just needed to check the camera to make sure everything is okay. Because I do record alone. For you guys who don't know. We're sitting on the sand now.
Yep.
So Zoe, where did we left off?
How I was saying I don't date that much in my travels, so...
Oh, yes. In your opinion, how long do you think it should take, like a couple or a situationship or somebody you meet before you have sex with them?
Honestly, I think once both people are safe and consenting, then it doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 months, or 5 years.
5 minutes?
But like, because each to their own, like,
Yeah.
honestly, like, for me, really, the only important thing is that you are both 100% consent, you're both 100% safe in terms of, like, STDs, in terms of, like, all that stuff, in terms of your environment, in terms of feeling safe, in terms of feeling comfortable. Once you're both happy, safe,
guys
and consenting,
get tested.
I really think it's just you guys' own decision, and I don't really understand the whole debate surrounding it, because for me, really, the only important thing that ever matters in sex is that you're both safe and consenting and happy. And
that's true.
Yeah. So I think for me, there's been such a range, because, like, for me to feel comfortable, like, I might start to feel comfortable with this man after 2 weeks, but it might take 4 weeks with this man, just depending on maybe how much time we spend together, depending on maybe how shy I feel around them, depending on maybe even also their geographical location. Like, maybe sometimes the situation's just not going to arise for you to sleep together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If maybe they both live with their parents, or, you know, so for me, there's not really like an answer. And like, every debate about sex for me just goes back to, like, are both people safe and consenting? And if they are, then, you know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Being a nomad that you are, they say in Trinidad a rolling stone gathers no moss. Right?
Yeah, they say that in England too, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. I've heard it, I think, in a few places.
Okay, so I just want to ask, like, if you had to settle anywhere, like, in the future, I know it's a hard question for you, but if you have to think about a place that you had to settle, where would it be?
Okay, one question. Do I have to settle and never leave, or can I still travel?
I mean, settle, like, you actually have a house there, but you could still travel.
Because I wouldn't mind having a house in England, to be honest, because obviously it is where I grew up, and, you know, I can get, like, healthcare, and I can get everything there that's, like, legal, and
it's also easy
we have
to
good flight connections.
from there,
yeah, whereas, like, that's one thing I find difficult about the Caribbean is, like, the flight connections. And also, I think I do also find it a bit difficult in the Caribbean. Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I do also find it a bit difficult in the Caribbean how it's so small comparatively, like, to where I'm from. Even though I'm from a small country, but you know what I mean. Sometimes I think here, I'm not sure. Maybe yes, but maybe no. I'm not sure if I could live on a small island.
Okay.
In which case I just deviate back to England, because I don't know where else to stay. Because nowhere, like, maybe somewhere in Latin America, because I feel like some places in Latin America, they have a bit of, like, a Caribbean vibe, but they're much bigger.
Yeah.
So, but I haven't explored Latin America as much as I would like to, so I'm hoping to do that this year. I want to go to, like, Colombia and go back to Belize and stuff like that.
That was one of the other questions I wanted to ask you. After Carnival, after leaving Trinidad, what's next for Zoe?
So last year after Carnival, well, after I stayed for a while after Carnival, but like after I left Trinidad last year, I went to Guyana just because I was like, oh, cheap flight, I've never been to Guyana. And it ended up being so amazing. Like, my TikTok went really well there, I made so many friends. So I'm thinking possibly about just doing that same thing, like going back there after here, because it is the cheapest flight usually from Trinidad.
And I realized your food options were really good across there. Yeah.
Who knew there was so much ITIL in Georgetown?
I was watching your TikTok
crazy,
and
yeah. And so, yeah, maybe there, but I haven't, like, committed to anything. And to be honest, like I said, I do want to end up back in Latin America, but I was thinking I could maybe go to Guyana, and then obviously you can go from there, you can cross into Brazil, and then from Brazil I could then, like, maybe get into, like, Colombia, or, you know, I could go from Brazil more through Latin America. So maybe that, but I haven't really, I'm a bit last minute, like, with my travel plans usually.
Okay, what's your thoughts on just life itself? No, yeah, that's a, I don't want to get,
okay, so,
like, you know, we tend to stay away from, I tend to stay away from politics
so my thoughts on life itself,
spiritual stuff, but just life itself.
So I made this, like, people, when I was like, I can't remember how old I was, but I was like a teenager, and I think it was my mom or somebody asked me, like, what do you think is, like, the purpose of life, or, like, is your purpose in life? And I made this answer, and I basically, like, still think the same thing to this day.
Yeah.
So my answer was, like, that I want to do basically two things, and it's to have fun and to help other people. And to be honest, my answer is really still the same. Like, to me, that's basically what life is. If I can, like, have fun, which is very like a general term, but I mean like have new experiences, share love with people, like try new foods, you know, like have fun in a broader thing, and help other people in a sense of like, I obviously want to make a positive impact where I can, like in the world, you know, whether that's on a place or on an individual person, or, you know, I want to, do good things. So basically that's still my answer now. So like with my TikTok, it's obviously fun, but I also try to like push community tourism and like local tourism to try and encourage people to like spend their money in the local economy rather than in, you know, big multinational like hotel chains, for example. So that's where I feel like I can maybe do something positive with my TikTok. So that's my thoughts on life. And
you think you will ever have children or want to have children?
So right now I don't want children. But like, I really just believe that in life, like any day, so much can change, because any decision that I make or you make today or tomorrow or the next day, whether it's to go down that road and maybe you end up in a crash, or whether it's to fly to Guyana and maybe win the lottery there, like just anything, like any decision that you make, so much can change, that I just kind of feel like anything's really possible in this life. And so although I don't really want children now, really who knows literally what is going to happen, who I'm going to meet, if I'm going to get pregnant and not have a choice because I can't get an abortion in that country, or I don't know, like you just don't know, you really just don't know. And depending who would get me pregnant, like maybe my opinion would obviously be different depending on who they are and depending on how much money I have or where like it just depends on so many things. I just can't say, but I just think that I really enjoy being like free. Not really. I think some people think of being free in terms of just being like single, but for me that's not really what it means.
No, I understand.
It means like that my things are just in a backpack, and like that only affects me. Like I don't know what I'm eating tonight, and that only affects me. I don't know where I'm flying next month, and that only affects me. Like I just couldn't live like this if I had a child. Do you know what I mean?
The funny thing with that is, like, as you say that, like to me, when I'm in a relationship, I love to cook, right? So I tend to cook a lot. So my groceries change a lot in my house. But when I'm single, it's like, don't go in that bag. Thank you very much. Sorry, it's a dog. When I'm single, and stuff, so food often waste. You freeze it for a while, you eat it, and then you just tend to get fed up with the food. So you go back to the diet of cricks and just eating things around the house because it's just you're feeding. And I feel like you have a child, you can't even do that because you're studying what that child going to need. That child needs nutrition.
Exactly.
And stuff like that.
The fridge can't be empty when you have a child.
It totally changes the dynamic of the situation.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like
financially as well, though.
Financially is a big part of it. When I was younger, I felt like I didn't want to have a child, and my girlfriend at that time, well, she was down for anything, and I felt like I missed that window. That was like 8 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But to this day, I always think like if I had to have a child, it would have been with that person, because I know that child would have been taken care of.
But even though you guys would have broken up?
I don't know if he would have broken up if he had the child.
Oh, okay.
But regardless of the situation, I know that child would have been, because she was, she was that person.
Yeah. But you want a child still?
Now, boy, the girls in, let me say that girls in general are flaky right now, so it's not that I don't want a child, it's the fear of having a child with the wrong person.
I mean, I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
Like, I think the one thing that would convince me to change my mind is if I ever ended up in a relationship where I felt like really comfortable and really safe, where I felt like that person would never abandon me, where I truly believed everything they said, and I felt like, because I feel like being pregnant, even just physically, like you need a man there who's gonna, literally be there.
Women have a lot more power when it comes to the child dynamic. Women often, let's say you and a girl, well, if I and a girl get together and we don't work out, often or not, that girl is going to hold that child against me and can't see my child and this and that, and another guy calling, my daughter or my son calling another guy daddy, and it's so scary for a man to think about that situation.
Yeah, but then what's scary for girls to think about if the man who maybe even was earning more money than you, or doing like physical things around the house that maybe you couldn't do, could just desert you any day and want nothing to do with his child. So it's like both ends of the spectrum, do you know what I mean? Because that's scary for me.
There's a guy who just don't know what he wants in life, but me as a person who is willing to have a child, it's just scary to know that so much can happen
Yeah.
that could hold, that child could be held against me. And
yeah,
that's
I
the
guess,
scary part of it for
yeah.
me.
But I guess like people say like that most good things come with like a risk or whatever,
Yeah.
which because even a relationship is very scary, even if you get a child, even
True.
just like trust, especially
True.
for me,
Trusting
honestly now, like
someone,
after
yeah.
this ex-boyfriend situation, like I truly believe that like he would be in my life forever, and the fact that now it seems like that was just not even
Yeah.
what, like that just wasn't true, or that just, do you know what I mean? Now I just feel like, how am I ever going to believe anyone again? Like, I don't know, that sounds really soppy, but like, how am I actually going to believe anyone ever again?
Yeah,
So even that is
like,
very scary.
Like even after my last relationship, I would say like, I am not getting together with anybody anytime soon. I at least need this year to figure out me.
Yeah.
You understand? It's a scary thing to leave, especially a long relationship.
Yeah. But I guess, you know, they always say like the person just comes along when you're not expecting it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I guess it's like kind of true.
Yeah.
And I guess you'll...
There was a lot of COVID relationships, to be honest. Just like Raina said, her RAS was because of COVID. She just accepted it. A lot of things happen that people accepted because of COVID also. Yeah, but before we end, you would like to say anything?
I don't know.
What are you doing for the rest of Carnival? Because you would be leaving by me tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, so the plan is tomorrow to go, that's why I'm leaving, is to go to the stick fighting semi-finals in Diego Martin. I've got a friend there, so I'm going to stay with her afterwards. She's going to come with me. And then, honestly, like, I really wasn't planning on fetting very much because I don't really like partying.
Yeah.
But somehow the calendar that I've written on my phone has got a fet like every day because somebody's called me and said, hey, I'm getting comps for this, or hey, do you want to come with me and my work team, put on the promo t-shirt and go and stand at this fet. Like, I've only bought one fet ticket, and that's for the Patrice Roberts concert. But somehow, even though I've only bought one fet ticket, I've got like 7 fets in my phone. So I don't really understand like how that works.
What's your favorite fet in Trinidad?
I barely fet. I actually don't really party. But last year, I only went to 2 fets for Carnival, and my favorite one out of the 2 was Nadia Batson Art Form.
Yeah, I heard it was actually good. I heard the food was good also.
Food? I don't think so, but for me I just went like last minute because I got a comp and I didn't know what to expect, so I just went with like no expectations, and then
and it was
all the performances were so good and the crowd was so like friendly and like down to earth, like it wasn't like a stitched crowd, and it was really cool. But yeah, I don't know.
It's changed over the years because I've been doing Carnival my whole life, but when I say like alone, doing Carnival alone, maybe about 10 years. Started with fantasy. I am a die-hard fantasy fan. Came up with Lullaby, and I did fantasy for a lot of years. And the parties over the years changed, but now I would say that Mr. PP, Mr. Jamaica. You see that party called Sunrise?
Yeah.
You see that committee called Sun Nation? He's doing big things in Trinidad. I would also say anything that Best Lime does, anything that Avinda does, and also Scorch doing some good events too. A lot of people flaking this year, but these people tend to keep what they're doing. They tend to keep it real good. And I would say for the past 5 years, minus COVID, Sunrise was my favorite party. When we talk about dirty fet, well, stink and dirty, you can't really take that away from them. That is about it. In terms of fet, the go-tos, sun deck, duckwork, Sunrise.
Duckwork as in the pool party?
Yeah.
So I went to that like my
years
first,
ago?
years ago. I can't remember where it was, but it was very lit. But I was much younger back then, and I feel like I might not find it the same now, because back then I was like, all the, that was the year that they had like Run With It, so the guys were like putting my friend on their shoulders, and like we were soaking wet, and then we're like whining on the guys outside the pool in our bikini, and
that was Hilton.
I don't know, but I feel like my energy is not the same now, so I don't know if I would be that same way, like in that fair now.
Well, the party changed because it's actually in Shaka Cabana now, and the whole dynamic of the party changed. I think it was better in Hilton. But it's still a good party. It's still a good party. There's another one. Well, Sundeck. Sundeck is a networking party, I would say, for people my age.
So that's networking also party.
Yeah, networking party. It's a good party.
As in networking for business or for dating?
Both. you could say, and just to meet up with old friends, because a lot of people pick and choose parties now because they're so expensive.
They're so expensive.
And like for me, I would mostly go with people know Chucky Ray-Ban. I just move it most of the time. But other than that is my friends like Best Simon and Vinda and PP, I would get comms for their parties. But other than that, like if I had, like if somebody had to do what I do a carnival season, they would easily spend at least 40,000 TT dollars in parties alone. We're not talking about on the road yet. And I would like you to experience the sunrise. So I'll talk to PP about that. PP, let her experience the sunrise. Also, I would, you're interested in doing any other interviews while you're in Trinidad?
I love an interview. I love
Okay,
talking.
I could talk to Hoppy. I think you on Scotch Radio could be a vibe, a real vibe. So I could put that in the works for you.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, I mean, the sun has set, or is setting.
It's actually in the sky.
But look how low the sun is. I'll actually take a video of the sun so you guys could see. But yeah, it's maybe really dark on the camera right now.
I wanted us to talk about how we met.
Oh, okay. We could do that real quick. So how we met. This is actually really funny, right? Because you guys know my Instagram, and you go on my Instagram and the type of shoots I'd be like this porn, what is man doing? But again, I would like to say, first of all, I have a folder of concepts on my Google Drive. And like when I message a model to shoot, I would send her the folder and say, you choose. And they often choose the type of things you see on my page. So when people say, Mark, how you get a girl to do that? I didn't actually get a girl to do that. The girl just wanted to do that. And I mean, if you have good work, anyway. So long story short, I was on TikTok a lot, and
This is last year.
yeah, this was last year, and I started to really watch Zoe videos, and I just messaged Zoe and I was like, hey, if you want to come to South, I could carry you to some of the beaches down here. We could hang out. You could stay by me, so forth, so forth. So when you saw my profile, what did you do?
Right. So obviously at that time, it's when my TikTok was kind of growing quite fast. So quite a lot of people were saying, oh, come by me, because I was like, it was obvious from my TikTok that I was kind of like going around, staying with lots of different people, some people that I'd never met, things like that. So I guess people enjoyed seeing those videos and they wanted to invite me to like their community or whatever. So it was normal for me to receive a message like that at the time, because I was getting messages like that from so many people. But the hard thing was like when I'm getting those messages from so many people, who do I reply to, who do I not, who do I say yes, who do I say no, because it's not possible to go to everybody's house. And also some people just come across a bit weird, so I'm probably not going to go to their house. So with your one, we had spoken on a live. Do you remember? There was this live where we were talking about karaoke or something, and you had said like that you could carry me to karaoke yourself.
Yeah.
So when you messaged, I did remember you from the live, which kind of helped.
Yeah.
But still, then I clicked on your profile, and then you look like this. You look like this, because there was this photo of you like
doing photography
for a mass band.
Yeah.
But you just look really like one of these really. I don't know the word, like people that just wouldn't hang out with me, like one of these really cool, like wearing some Ray-Bans and whatever, like, you know, all these like really cool guys that like do the photography at Carnival, and like I'm just not cool like that. Like I'm like the opposite. I'm just like this scruffy little backpacker that like is just wandering around the earth, like I don't know. So I was like, why is this person trying to host me? Like I just don't think we're very similar, you know. But then the message was quite like seemed quite genuine, and it made sense, like, so I thought, okay, let me at least reply. So I was like, oh, okay, like, can you tell me a bit more about yourself or whatever? And then I think you explained like where you live and what there is near you, whatever. But then that's when I stalked your Instagram, and then I saw that it was basically this like OnlyFans thing. So I was like, is this guy trying to recruit me to his OnlyFans? So I am like overly honest sometimes, so I just sent a message obviously, and I was like, hey, I've just seen your Instagram, like would you mind explaining like why it is that you have all these photos in there, because I'm a bit confused. And then, well, obviously you explained that you just like do photography for women who want that type of photography and stuff. But you gave like a lot of details to where I believe that it was true, because you can't just make up all that.
I actually told you that you would be staying with me and my girlfriend.
Yeah.
We have 2 bedrooms and so forth, so forth.
And
the funny thing is, at that time he was going through problems, because remember I slept on the couch, she was sleeping in her room and you all had my room.
No, but that wasn't that time. I came by
Oh,
myself
you came
first.
twice. Yeah, you came first. Yeah,
and
yeah,
I slept
yeah.
on the couch.
First, yeah.
But anyway, because also you were voice noting me, and when people voice note, they seem more real. Do you know what I mean? So then I just said to myself, okay, he seems genuine. I believe what he's saying. Let's do it. So then, yeah.
And that's how we're friends, guys. So thanks for watching this episode of Dai Good Talk. I will have to end it now. I don't even know if the camera's still recording.
Oh.
If we pass the 40-minute mark. So hopefully